time to talk Money in the Bank 2024. Here are my predictions for the upcoming Money in the Bank 2024 pay-per-view. I've got the card right here. Let's get straight into it. Starting off with, of course, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Mr. Jey Uso versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade versus Chad Gable versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight. Great Money in the Bank card. Can we talk about that? Great matchup here. I could see several of these people winning. I actually wouldn't mind several people of these winning. Here's who I wouldn't mind winning. Chad Gable, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, maybe even Carmelo Hayes, but he sits slightly below. Andrade's at the bottom. I'm sorry, Andrade fans. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. I don't want to see it. Carmelo Hayes, probably a bit early in his career. Don't think that's going to happen, but I'm sure, what a match for him. It's going to put on a great show, no doubt about that. And of course, the four big ones. Chad Gable, would love to see Chad Gable win Money in the Bank. But I don't think they're going to push him straight to the top title when he's been having this feud with Sami on the Intercontinental, unless he ends up cashing in on Sami, and therefore you then up that prestige of the Intercontinental title. Plus, you could then get out of the Sami versus Braun booking that we'll get into later. So, maybe, but I doubt it. LA Knight, people really want LA Knight to win Money in the Bank. They did last year when Damian Priest won it. I can see them putting it on LA Knight, but again, he's going into this feud with Logan Paul, who's the US champ, so realistically, does he need Money in the Bank for that? Probably not. Same with Drew McIntyre. We'd love to see Drew McIntyre win it, but with the way that his story's been going, and I think it was a Zanti clip that I saw when he lost at Clash of the Castle. I was one of those people that said he should have won at Clash of the Castle. I saw the Zanti clip and he was basically like, no, Drew's whole story has been how he keeps failing and blaming it on other people, and that's like his descent into this heel character that we're seeing. And I was like, God damn, that makes a lot of sense, boy. And therefore, suddenly, I didn't want Drew to win at Clash of the Castle and completely agree that Damian was the right choice. And I think the same applies here. It gives another thing for him to bitch and complain about and not getting the job done. Which, of course, leaves main event Jey Uso, who I do think is going to win this match. I think it makes the most sense. He hasn't got loads going on right now, but he is super over. Why not slap the title on him? Who's he going to go after? He can either go after Priest / Rollins, whoever wins that. Okay, yeah, we've seen Priest already. Rollins, I'm not too sure. Two faces going against each other, probably not the best idea. Then you got Cody. Yes, two faces going up against each other, but there's history there. They're friends, but also they have been on the other side of the ring from each other at WrestleMania 39. So, I don't know. It doesn't make the most sense in terms of who the champions are, I will admit. But in terms of the story and where he is in the card, I feel like it makes the most sense. So, I'm thinking Yeet Master Jey Uso wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. Moving on to the second match, we've got Io Sky versus Chelsea Green versus Lyra Valkyria versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi versus Zoe Stark. I'm not quite as pumped for the women's one, I'll be completely honest. But Chelsea Green getting the moment, getting into this match, I thought was a great moment. So that did definitely enhance my excitement. So let's go through the competitors and see who I think has the most likely chance of winning. Io Sky, I think she has a fairly high chance. I'd probably rank her second or third on who I'd want, or who I think would win, mainly because they could do a back-to-back Money in the Bank winner. However, she hasn't got a huge amount going on. She lost clean to Bayley. I don't think anyone's eager to see her with the title again, to be completely honest, or at least that I've seen. I'm not eager to see her with the title again, so I'll sit her straight in the middle. I don't think Zoe Stark, she sits right at the bottom. I think she's great in the ring, but I just don't click with her, don't really like the character, to be honest. Naomi, WWE seem to really like Naomi in this comeback, which is great. So I'm sure that a lot of people would want to see her as champ, or as Money in the Bank holder. Me personally, there's someone else I'd rather see, so slot her at second. Tiffany Stratton, I think, is going to walk away with the briefcase. They really seem to be pushing her. She's been in championship matches. It suits her character to be the cheap, slimy, cash in on Bayley and Liv, but I presume it'd be Bayley, and take the championship that way. It suits the character more. She's been put in these high-profile matches, makes the most sense. Lyra Valkyrie, she had a big moment getting into the finals at king and queen of the ring, but I don't see her pulling the trigger on her. And of course Chelsea Green, who I would love to see win, but I feel like her getting to the match is the achievement that they've rewarded her with, being on the Canada main event PLE. So I don't see her walking away with a briefcase, but I'm sure it will be a pretty decent match nevertheless. Moving on, we've got the Bloodline. So of course the Bloodline now consists of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa and Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I am going to be blunt with this one, and I may be in the minority here. I do not care for this match. I do not care for the Kevin Owens and Randy Orton Bloodline storyline. Loved the Bloodline and what they did with Paul Heyman the segment last week. Thought that was brilliant. But a lot of that credit goes to Paul, I have to say. I haven't been loving the new Bloodline stuff, and I feel like this has just been going on for ages, and I'm ready for something new. I understand they're probably building for that big Roman return at SummerSlam, but I'm kind of bored. You know, Cody Rhodes, he doesn't need to have a championship match. He's been on every PLE, so I'm not bothered about that necessarily, but I just don't know. Like, are we not over Cody in the Bloodline? Randy and Kevin, I feel like could be doing something more interesting. I'm just not that excited for it. I hate being a downer. I like this channel to be positive and positive vibes all around, but I'm just not looking forward to it. However, the good thing about not looking forward to something is that it can only impress me. So let's see what's going to happen here. But of course, I think that Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens will beat the Bloodline. Even if I don't think it's the best decision, especially if they're going to start building between a Roman and Solo mega match at SummerSlam. I feel like Solo needs a few wins under his belt, and that's another reason why I feel like the Bloodline, the new Bloodline, hasn't been working strongly, because Solo isn't that interesting. In the sense that he hasn't had that many wins. Like, he doesn't feel like a tribal chief, and people might say, yeah, that's the point. But I feel like Roman was so good. I know he's cheating a lot, but I felt like at the start, the reason that made that character so interesting is the fact that he kind of was unbeatable, and I feel like they could be playing that off of Solo now. Especially if they're going to do what they should do and have Solo beat Reigns to then become this new megastar, this new moneymaker. He needs some wins underneath his belt. So we shall see what happens. Next up, we'll go for the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn and Braun Baker. I'm stuck on this one because Braun Baker has burst onto the scene. People seem to be really liking him on the main roster. I personally liked him in NXT and still like him in the main roster, even if his character's a little bit two-dimensional, in my opinion. And I don't see them wanting him to lose here. It's a bit like I can see him being a Gunther, that when he gets a hold of that title, he will hold on to it for a significant amount of time. But Sami's reign also hasn't gone on for that long. Like, he's only really defended it against Chad after beating Gunther. And after beating Gunther, does he not deserve a longer reign? I don't know. I'm stuck on this one. I'm going to say that it's going to be a Braun Breaker win, because I don't see them wanting him to lose, but I think there'll be some shenanigans there that allows Braun to win, whether that be with Chad and they sort of pick up that storyline again or something. But I'm going to go left wing here, and I'm going to say Braun Breaker, because you know what? This channel's all about taking risks, and I feel like that's the risky pick. However, I am very much looking forward to this match, and I do think that it's going to be a really exciting one to watch. So let's see what happens. And of course, we'll end it off with the championship match, the World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian Priest and Seth freaking Rollins. His first match back. Can't wait to see him back in the ring. However, of course, I think he is going to lose. I don't see why Rollins needs the title back. He did a phenomenal job making that title feel prestige. He only dropped it, like Drew, be it 5 minutes, was only the second ever champion. Like, Rollins had a great reign with it, but it was kind of mid. I'm not saying that Damian Priest has been way better, but Rollins doesn't need it. Like, I would rather see Rollins with the WWE World title rather than this World Heavyweight Championship match, so it's something fresh and something different. And I still feel like Damian's got more to prove of it. And so far, for the majority of it, I've enjoyed Damian's reign, but I feel like he does get overshadowed by his opponents. And hopefully, the more this reign goes on, the more he improves himself as carrying himself as a world champion, because of course it's the first time for him, we will see an improvement in that. I don't think it's going to be an absolute barn breaker of a match. However, I do think it's still going to be pretty good. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it, and I'm of course looking forward to seeing Rollins back inside that squared circle. And to see what shenanigans played here. I did see that apparently if Damian loses, that he's out of Judgment Day, and if Seth loses, he can't challenge the world title. And I feel like that's a good stipulation, because I don't think Damian's going to leave Judgment Day, because I feel like they'll do that on their own terms later down the line in this story, which will probably lead to him losing the title. but having Rollins not challenge for it again while Damien's champ also makes a lot of sense. You get this match, this world title match, and then we don't have to see it again, and I think that's perfect. And as we just said, I don't think Rollins needs this title now. Rollins is in that league with a very few, like Roman, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, where they don't need a title to feel like a big match. You can put Seth in a match with anyone and it will feel like a good match and a big match. So credit to Seth Rollins in that perspective. So those are my predictions for Money in the Bank, but I'd love to know what you think down in the comments below. Of course, please do leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more wrestling action, and I will see you in the next video. See ya!